Welcome back, focused learners. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are tackling something massive. We are diving into a foundational, incredibly high stakes explainer for Cambridge AS and A-level accounting, syllabus 9706. Today's masterclass is all about mastering the books of prime entry. But listen, we aren't just going to sit here and dryly define what a sales journal or a cash book is. No way. We are putting on the lenses of an elite Cambridge examiner. We're going to look at exactly what they want to see, precisely where students bleed marks, and the specific strategic frameworks you need to secure those top-tier grades. So if you're ready to decode the marking scheme and seriously elevate your analytical skills, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get to work. I want you to look at this quote. This is pulled directly from the Principal Examiner reports. This topic appears in every examination series. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't some obscure niche theory that might pop up once every 5 years. It is guaranteed 100% exam material. Books of prime entry form the absolute bedrock of your accounting knowledge. Think of it like the foundation of a skyscraper. If your foundation here is shaky, everything built on top of it, your ledgers, your trial balances, your complex financial statements, it's all going to collapse under exam pressure. Today, we are bulletproofing that foundation. We're going to decode the specific procedural and analytical skills that examiners are quite literally desperate to reward. Okay, here's our masterclass roadmap for today. First, the high-stakes blueprint. Second, core foundations. Third, the procedural framework. Fourth, the method mark strategy. And finally, number 5, top examiner warnings. Let's jump right into Section 1, the high-stakes blueprint. The absolute crucial first step is knowing exactly which books we are dealing with. We're analyzing the primary vehicles of data entry, right? We've got the sales journal for your credit sales, the purchases journal for credit purchases, the returns inwards and outwards journals, the cash book for all bank and cash transactions, and of course, the general journal for literally everything else, like correcting those tricky errors or making year-end adjustments. Now, here is how you need to think about this strategically. When you look at an exam question and see a massive dump of raw transactional data, your brain should instantly start routing that data into these specific silos. If you miscategorize a transaction right at this initial stage, say putting a cash sale into the sales journal instead of the cash book, the rest of your answer will completely derail. You have to be ruthless with your categorization. Moving on to Section 2, Core Theoretical Foundations. Top-scoring candidates, the ones pulling A's and A stars, they don't just memorize formats. They truly grasp the theoretical architecture behind the numbers. This whole system rests on precise definitions and, crucially, understanding causal relationships. When you enter a figure into the sales journal, you must instinctively understand the ripple effect that action has on the receivables ledger and the general ledger. It's an ecosystem. It requires systematic analysis and evidence-based reasoning. But you want to know the absolute secret weapon for unlocking the highest marking bands? It's integration with other syllabus areas. You must be able to zoom out and see the whole board, not just the isolated transaction. This brings us to a massive differentiator. When examiners are grading those written, evaluative, high-tariff questions, they are constantly comparing generic, isolated answers against highly integrated answers. The Principal Examiner reports are incredibly explicit about this. Candidates who reference cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. For example, instead of just saying the cash book records money in and out, an elite answer explains how a failure to properly maintain that cash book directly impacts liquidity analysis, or how it messes up control account reconciliations down the line. By doing that, you are showing the examiner that you possess a holistic, master-level understanding of accounting, not just rote memorization of a single textbook chapter. Let's shift gears to Section 3, the procedural framework. Remember this. Accounting is a professional discipline, and the exam demands professional presentation, period. There are strict conventions you absolutely must follow. First, proper headings. If a journal doesn't have a clear, accurate, and fully dated title, you are literally throwing away easy marks. Second, correct terminology. Never use slang or vague terms. Use the exact accounting vocabulary expected at the AS and A-level standard. Third, appropriate formats. Your columns must align perfectly, dates must be present for every single entry, and totals must be ruled off correctly. Finally, clear annotation. Your narrative in the general journal, for instance. That isn't some optional extra. It is mandatory evidence of your understanding. Examiners will ruthlessly deduct marks if your presentation is sloppy, even if your numbers are perfectly correct. Don't give them a reason to penalize you. To ensure you hit all those strict conventions under extreme time pressure, you need a system. You cannot just wing it. So here is a battle-tested 6-step exam strategy. Step 1, deconstruct the question. What is the actual command word? You have to deeply contrast command words here. Analyze means breaking down components, while evaluate, or to what extent, means you must provide a balanced, supported judgment. Step 2, extract the data. Sift through the noise in the stimulus materials and pull out only the signal. Step 3, select your analytical framework. Decide which specific books of prime entry are required. Step 4, execute with clear notation. Step 5, verify your results. Does it balance? Make logical sense? Step 6, present correctly. Now, before we tackle the absolute holy grail of exam tactics in the next section, I want to pause real quick. If you are serious about mastering these exact kinds of strategies, you need to subscribe to our channel Ace the Exam's IGCSE, O, and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE. Make sure you enable all notifications by hitting that bell so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. All right, let's keep pushing. All right, section 4, the method mark strategy. Pay close attention because the method mark strategy is your ultimate safety net when an exam paper throws a curveball at you. Cambridge examiners are not just human calculators looking for a final tally. They're assessing your logical, cognitive process. Method marks are awarded for demonstrating the correct analytical process and procedural framework, even if your final numerical calculation is completely incorrect. Let's say you're under pressure and you miscalculate a complex trade discount on the very first transaction. Yes, you will lose the mark for that specific initial number, but, and this is a massive but, if you take that flawed number and carry it perfectly through the correct ledgers, applying all the right accounting principles along the way, you will earn the method marks for every one of those subsequent steps. Let's look at this breakdown. Consider a hypothetical student, let's call him Alex. Alex applies the exact correct procedure but just messes up the final arithmetic on his calculator. As you can see, Alex still secures a significant portion of the total marks because his structure was flawless. Conversely, imagine another student, let's call her Sam. Sam just scribbles down the correct final number but shows absolutely no workings, no structure, and no framework. Sam might actually get 0 marks. The examiner has to see how you arrived at the answer. This means you should never, ever leave a question completely blank just because you get stuck on one tricky calculation. Set up the framework, enter the data you do know, and clearly show your procedural knowledge. You can literally save your final grade just by stubbornly fighting for every single method mark. To help you execute these procedures flawlessly without panicking, here is a fantastic insider memory hack directly from Curriculum Architects. Use a visual story method to encode these concepts. Don't just stare blankly at textbook pages hoping it sticks. Imagine the physical journey of a transaction. Picture a paper invoice arriving in the mail. Visualize it being physically logged into the purchases journal. Then imagine the transfer of that total amount to the purchases account in the general ledger, while the individual amount walks over to the supplier's account in the payables ledger. Creating a mental, visual narrative like this cements those causal relationships in your brain permanently. It makes the whole process so much easier to recall when the clock is ticking down in the exam hall. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Top Examiner Warnings. We have combed through years of Cambridge Principal Examiner reports to find the exact recurring traps where students lose the most marks. Here are the top 3 mistakes you must avoid. Number 1, using the wrong approach for the context. This means wasting precious exam time drawing up a complex cash book format when only a simple ledger account was requested. Always read the constraint of the prompt. Number 2, forgetting format and presentation. We already hammered this home, but it happens so often. Missing dates, absent totals, 0 narrative. It is an absolute tragedy when brilliant accounting logic is ruined by lazy presentation. And number 3, answers that are not specific to the context given. That third point is so critical, it gets its own examiner alert. The absolute classic mistake on the written, high-tariff, analytical parts of the exam is providing generic, textbook answers. If the company in the exam scenario is a small, local bakery struggling with short-term cash flow, and your evaluation paragraph starts talking about multinational corporate share issuances, you will get 0 marks for that point. None. You must link every single argument back to the specific scenario provided. Top-tier candidates question the assumptions in the text. They consider different perspectives based on the exact data provided, and they justify their decisions with evidence directly from the numbers given in the prompt. And that leads us to our final technical skill, which is absolutely essential for unlocking those highest marking bands in evaluative questions: comparative analysis mastery. To excel here, you cannot just list facts. You must explicitly identify similarities and differences. You need to confidently use comparative connectives, words like whereas, conversely, or similarly, to bridge your points. You must support every comparison with hard evidence from the books of prime entry that you've just drafted. And critically, to get the final evaluation marks, you must draw a conclusion about relative importance.
Don't just leave two options hanging in the air. Tell the examiner exactly which option matters more to the specific business in the scenario and exactly why. So, we arrive at the ultimate question. The next time you sit down with a complex past paper, will your answer be generic, rushed, and disorganized? Or will you apply this exact blueprint, demonstrate perfect procedural conventions, link every single point to the specific context, and secure every single method mark available? The choice is entirely yours, but now you are armed with the exact roadmap the examiners are looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today for this masterclass explainer. Remember, crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent, targeted strategy. So make sure you hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams, IGCSE O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell so you're ready for our future exam hacks. And hey, leave a comment below with your exact target grade. I want to see what you're aiming for. Keep practicing those frameworks, and I will see you in the next session.